I'm Patty Pearson.
I'm David Pearson, and this
is our testimony.
So, man, this is our first married couple we had on the podcast, man. So that's groundbreaking for me. I really, really appreciate y'all coming, man. How are y'all?
I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm doing good.
You trying to duck this traffic and this weather?
Man, Patty, how you been?
I've been good, selling houses, being mommy and a wife. But other than that, I'm good.
So the first question I normally ask everybody, and y'all can answer this together or individually, but who is Jesus Christ to you?
Our Lord and Savior.
My salvation. My everything, whom I get everything from.
So for y'all, man, because how did y'all meet?
You can take it. Okay, well, I'll start. So
she's a complainer.
I'm a complainer. And I don't really look at it as a complainer, but I am.
That's just the best way that I can put it in our demographic, She's not going to take no cold food. She's not going to take the poor
bad
customer service.
Right.
So she will speak up for herself.
Right.
But everybody that don't, we call them complainers.
Yeah. So, okay. I was moving into my second apartment at the time. And back then, Rent-A-Center and electronic stores were really popular. So I was going to rent me a big screen old school TV, the one with the back on the fat back on it. So I went into the store, and I'm gonna let him tell his side. But I went into the store, I'm checking out TVs. I found the one I wanted. They got me on the schedule. So they were like scheduled to deliver like the next week. So I met the guy in my apartment, and it was raining. I lived on the 3rd floor, and I'm a super clean person. So it's raining. He bringing his TV up, but he didn't have on no booties. So he tracks mud on my carpet, which was big for me. So I was like, I need to speak to the manager. I made sure I got an apartment with brand new carpet. I really want to speak to the manager because somebody is going to have to replace my carpet or clean it. He's like, okay, here's my manager's number and blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, all right. So I called. He said his name was David. So I called. I'm like, hey, can I speak with David? He gets on the phone and I'm like, sir, your employee brought my TV. Everything was fine, but he left a mess on my carpet. So he was like, okay, well, I just need you to sign some paperwork and then I'll send somebody out. I thought that was a little weird to sign paperwork for carpet cleaning, but he was like, I just need for you to get up here and sign it. But I'm like, okay, maybe it's like an incident report. I don't really know. I'm like, okay. So I get up there and we never talked about the carpet. It went from the Super Bowl game to I look good and all that. Okay. So the rest is history, but you tell your side because you already had them.
Well, from my side, I came in. I was off the day that they did the sale and everything. I came in and I'm checking. They were like, man, you missed it yesterday. I said, what I miss? They said, it was a bad one in here yesterday. I said, what she look like? So he had to run the cameras back, man. She was looking good. I was like, what? And I said, man, let me call her. Right there, she was calling up to complain about the carpet. And I was like, okay, yeah, all right. Well, ma'am, unfortunately, you got to sign a slip so I can get approval.
A made-up slip.
Yeah.
Because I never signed anything. I forgot to ask.
I said, you come up here and sign this. I'll get you taken care of. And she came up there, tried to have that little attitude. She didn't make it to the counter. I met her. She was coming in the door. There she go right there. I said, let me go out here. So I come from the back, went out there, met her halfway. We stopped right there and ain't moved since.
And ain't no paper been signed.
That is
Still ain't no paper been signed.
So Nicole, when you first seen them, like you already had the intentions of going there and complaining about this. You see him, your instant thoughts.
I was like, okay, he look good. He a boss. He had some height on him, a little weight. I was like, okay. I knew he was black over the phone, but I didn't really know what he was going to look like. So I was like, okay. Yeah, I thought he was attractive.
Man, that's a crazy startup story, man. But it happens. It works. How long y'all been married?
It'll be 15 years, April 4th, 2024.
Man, that longevity is everything, and it takes a lot. So Dave, I grew up with Patty, so I kind of know her a lot more, but I don't know your background. I don't know your story. How was it for you growing up?
It was good growing up. I grew up in, I'm from Philly.
Okay.
My stepdad married my mom and moved us to Texas. So I went all out there in Keller. You know, I went to Fossil Hill Middle School. Then I went to Amarillo and came back, went to Keller High School. So I did all of my running around out in that part of Fort Worth. Got in a little bit of trouble. I had to go sit down for 7 years. And I was about 23 when I got out. And I had to start from the bottom to build back up. You know what I mean?
So I don't want to just breeze. I love that you said that, and I love that you're transparent with that. Mm-hmm. So when I say how was it growing up, did you come up in a 2-parent household, single-parent household? How was that?
So my mom she's a go-getter type woman. You know, they always say you end up marrying the person that your mom is. So subconsciously,
right.
My mom we was always dressed good. We always lived in the nice sides of town. Even in Philly, we was the family that, you know, we always had, you know.
Right.
But it was just me and my mom and my siblings. Well, when she got with her husband, we moved to Texas. You know, I kind of was put immediately in, for lack of better words, Caucasian areas. Because up in the north, it's not, I never saw a white person. And people trip out when I say that. But I saw Italians, but a bona fide howdy kind of guy.
Not in Philly.
Yeah, I never seen. So when I got to Texas, and you go from inner city directly into the suburbs, this is Keller in the 90s, like 89. So you can't imagine the Keller now is nothing compared to Keller then. So I was the only black in my school. Well, besides it was another guy, but other than us, it was just a few of us there. So I grew up with humble beginnings, you know, but I grew up like a lot of our kids do right nowadays, suburban.
Okay.
So I was all suburban, but I was from the hood. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? So it's like a culture shock, and it's like you don't really know, but all of them want to be like you,
right?
You know what I'm saying? So I didn't have to try to convert over to that way. They was all liking the stuff that I was doing that was out of line and everything. So it was just different, you know, to be where all the kids was real lame, but they was like following after me. They didn't give me no cause to do nothing right.
Okay. So in that, so you get to Texas, you start moving around, everybody's kind of following your lead. At home, how's you got brothers, sisters, siblings?
Yeah, I got 3 sisters and a brother. All college graduates. One played football professionally and semi-pro and collegiately.
And you're the oldest.
I'm the oldest of all of them. We're kind of staggered in between, but yeah, we all was good.
And Patty, I know you, but for the ones watching that don't, how did you grow up?
So I grew up in a 2-parent household, but it was my stepdad.
Okay.
So he came around when I was about 5.
Okay.
And I have an older sister. She's 2 years older than me. And then I have a younger brother, which is about 1 year and 9 months younger than me. And then I have 2 stepsisters that kind of were in and out with us. So I didn't grow up with a biological dad, which I don't have issues from it or anything, but I always knew that I wanted my children to have that love from both parents. Absolutely. If possible. So I worked hard to make sure of that. So yeah, I grew up with siblings and in a 2-parent household.
So I hear a lot of people saying, man, when a stepdad comes in, they can't be as impactful as a biological father. Do you agree with that? Because you just said you came up with a stepfather in the home. Was he as impactful? Would you say your relationship was a little different?
He was definitely impactful. So I had no dealings with my biological dad. So anything he did, because he didn't do anything negative, anything he did was positive. And when I say negative, like he didn't molest us, he didn't beat us, he actually never even whooped us. I mean, But growing up now, watching my husband, it's a running joke in our household because he's such a good daddy. I always say, I just wish you were my daddy instead. So I really see like what the unconditional fatherly love can be with kids, and dads matter just as much as mamas. So, I mean, looking back, you know, he did the best he could. He did good, but it still wasn't my dad. He wasn't a real affectionate person. He's more affectionate with my children, and he just didn't really know how. So he definitely was impactful. He taught me how to drive. I'm a pretty good driver, ain't I?
Okay, so clearly it's gonna be married couples watching, and you also have people who they've been dating for a while, but they're hesitant to get married. In both of y'all's opinion, what was the biggest blessing about saying "I do"?
You go first.
Well, for me, from the gate, I asked the right questions during the dating phase. So I already knew that she was going to be the one. And she told me off the rip, you know, God told me I was going to have 2 boys. And I was like, I bet.
You left off an important part.
Well, she said about what they was going to do?
Yeah.
Okay, she said, God told me I'm going to have 2 boys. One of them is going to play. One of them, if not both of them, will play professional sports. And I was like, okay, you know what I mean, you know, that'll work, you know what I mean, if nothing else.
Yeah, I wasn't even pregnant yet.
I just wanted them boys though, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't care what they do, you know what I'm saying, get here, you know.
Yep. So for me it's the same. Honestly, we were super transparent. I mean, Derek, you know me, so I have always been a meat and potatoes type of girl. You know, I don't dance around anything. I'm very real. It's just who I am. I was that way when I was a little girl. So I was very strategic, and I dated with a purpose. So I didn't mind asking him hard questions because I already knew I didn't really want to waste no time. I wanted to get straight to it. So we were both pretty transparent, and I think that helps because a lot of people are not that. You date the representative.
Y'all both actually just said the same thing. You said you knew what you wanted, you asked the right questions, you dated with a purpose. What would be your advice to a couple who is hesitant or unsure and they're wanting to take that next step, but they're kind of hesitant to? What would be your best advice to them?
My best advice would be don't get caught up in the cupcake phase. We still in our cupcake phase.
Right.
Because we never really cared about the cupcake phase as much as the real. Because life happens, you know what I mean? And you got to be prepared with the questions that we ask, with knowing her, knowing what she gonna stand for. You know, a lot of times, like female friends or male friends, have y'all had that conversation? This is the age of social media. We've always had the same social media page.
Right.
You know, sometimes you gotta cut off a lot of noise before it even comes. So when it was MySpace when we got back together.
Yeah, it was MySpace.
When we got together, it was MySpace.
Yeah.
And then over the time, I was like, man, this shit gonna develop. You know, excuse my language, but you know what I mean? I'm kind of, you know, I'm here and there, you know. Right. But I was like, man, this shit right here is gonna blow up into something else. We probably need to be on a, you know, because it went from, if you remember, MySpace was a college thing, only the college kids.
Right.
And that's made it safe. But then they opened it up for everybody. And I was like...
No, Facebook was the college kids.
But one of them was like that.
One of them, yeah, I remember.
One of them was for the college people, but MySpace was here. But I was like, you know what? You do that, I'm not going to get into that. You know, we got an age gap. You know what I'm saying? So I was 28 at the time we got together. She was 21.
Okay.
So that played a lot with us getting together. You know, a lot of times you dating in your same age as a woman, you're not going to find the same values in the men that you would if they're a little more seasoned with life or, you know, whatever. I ain't saying that for everybody. If you went to school together, that's a different thing.
Right.
But a lot of people come out of high school, they go straight to work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you gonna come out of high school, come straight to work, and you coming and dating somebody that's similar to you. He coming out of high school, going straight to work. He ain't lived enough. He haven't accumulated enough confidence as a man. It's not about what he has. It's the confidence that we have as men that makes us feel comfortable in pursuing. You know, when you meet a woman, whether she gonna play that or not. You know, some of y'all like to have y'all cake and eat it too, but sometimes you know that this girl ain't gonna play for me, have my cake and eat it too.
Right.
And I'm gonna try it anyway. Y'all mess up some good girls.
None of that
you know what I'm saying? Yeah, no, it wasn't none of that.
I wasn't having that anyway.
Yeah.
So what would you say, because you just talked about the age gap, like, was that at any point, because like you just said, was that a challenge? Because I know a lot of people would say, hey man, for a female, it might be best to date older because your age group sometimes not on the same maturity level. What would you say to that, Patty?
I liked it. Well, I always thought I was grown, DP. I always thought I started working at 14. I was driving by 16. And like I mentioned earlier, I have two stepsisters and then I have a sister. So my brother is the only one up under me. All of the girls were all older than me. So I kind of watched them and I grew from them. I learned from them. And by the time my turn came up, my parents were kind of like, oh, let her drive, let her do whatever she wants to do. I watched them. So I've always been a little bit more mature than what I really am. So for me, I just mentally, because we got together when I was 21, I'm 38 now. We've been together 17 years. I couldn't, at that time, a lot of dudes my age were still, like he said, was trying to build up their companies and figure it out. And I just didn't really have time for this. So I had to go older. But it works for me. It works for both of us.
Man, 15 years is a I ain't gonna say long, but it's a good amount of time to be together, and it's a long time. That means y'all have to been through a lot of trials and tribulations, especially in the early stages. How was the first year, 2 years of marriage?
It was rough to me. I mean, not like that. We've been together 17 years. So our first 2 years we weren't married.
Okay.
So what? The first 2 years just trying to get on one page because we trying to figure it out. I kind of go out a lot. He work a lot. I didn't have kids. David was previously married. He had a daughter, which is our daughter. She's 20. Okay. She had just turned 3. So, he had the settled life, even though he rode motorcycles all the time and was out in the streets. We were trying to kind of put it together. But by the time, and then we had our oldest son really early on in our relationship. So I went from no kids to 2 kids because my stepdaughter at the time, she didn't live with us. She eventually moved with us. But at the time, she would come over a lot, like every weekend, every Wednesday. I would take her to Head Start in Dallas. We lived in Fort Worth. So I went from not being a mama, doing what I wanted to do all the time, to having 2 kids. So it was a lot of things that I was trying to figure out. And I was a stay-at-home mom at the time. So major things I didn't have to worry about as far as bills, credit. He led the pack there, but I was trying to figure out the mommy thing. So it was rough for me. What would you say?
I agree. I think as it was more so figuring out how to do that. Because at the end of the day, I mean, I had a kid. I didn't want to make my responsibilities be her responsibilities, but how she handled that dictated how I was going to move. You know what I'm saying? And she was all hands in. And when I'm working 14 hours a day, she had to be in the gap. You know what I mean? Driving from over here in Fort Worth all the way to Dallas. You know what I mean? And back, it was a lot. You know what I mean? And she stepped in. And so those parts of our relationship was the fun. But we always
was able to come back and get on one page.
Was there ever a time where you had to okay, this is the time I might feel some type of way, you feel some type of way, but we got to put God in the forefront of our relationship. So I got to humble myself in this area. You got to humble yourself in this area. Is there anything that you can pinpoint to a time where you had to change who you are for your partner?
Yeah, that's what being you go from, you gotta understand, 21 turned up.
Yeah.
I didn't drink though.
Yeah, no drinking. That's even more crazy.
Natural.
No drinking and no drugs, no whole bunch of bodies. So not even you just out there hoeing around. You just like to be turned up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And dressed up from the young age. So, for me, it was more so I need to make sure that she still can feel empowered. I don't want you to all of a sudden turn around, you a housewife, you can't. Now do that. Trust was developed early on. Yeah. It's something you give out early and you maintain. It's not something that a person should have to earn. You give them the trust and they maintain the trust for what they do. Now they can chip away, but that's the main thing. It was the trust. I'd be at work, she'd be in the street with my daughter, they Where y'all at? We eating over here. I call it 4 more hours. Where y'all at? Oh, we eating over here. Dad, that's
Or
all y'all
shopping.
do is eating and shopping. You know what I mean?
But
So
to
it was
answer
good.
the question, we both grew up in church. So God, we both agreed that God would be the center of our life. Now, of course, at 21, I wasn't just knocking down doors, going to church every Sunday. I'm
Right.
not gonna lie. But I grew up, and like the Bible say, you know, bring up a child in the way they should go, and they will not stray far from it. So he grew up, and so we agreed early on that God would be the focal point. It wasn't all when we found times where we left him on the back burner. One of us was always strong enough to say, all
And
right,
it was mostly her, especially early on, because, like you said, grew up in the church. You know, my grandfather was True Vine Baptist Church. You know, I was always at church. You know what I mean? But as you become grown and you get out here to the world, it take a lot of discipline.
Yes.
As a youngster to go to church and do that rather than get this money or do this. And I kind of chose that path. So when we got together, I really didn't, you know, I would go to church on the, you know, the Easters and the special occasions, the Christmases,
Right.
the New Year's, you know, we gonna be all night praying all night. Yeah, we did that. But, you know, it wasn't real to me, you know, so I'm just trying to fulfill the obligations of family. But when we got to, and we was doing our own thing, and she was real adamant on, let's get up and let's do it. She took the initiative, iron the clothes, get us up, you know, cook, we go to the, you know what I mean? Then you start, okay, this is what we doing, you know, so it take a strong woman. You know what I mean? The men, we do as much as we can, but I mean, I don't know a lot of guys that do follow the path, but the woman, it really set the tone. Because if she let you sleep in on Sunday, knowing all that football finna come on,
you gonna sleep in.
you gonna sleep in.
Yeah, you gonna do it.
You know what I mean?
And you just made a very impactful statement. And I kind of want you to reiterate it for me. What is the biggest blessing of having a good wife? Because at the end of the day, without her, I'm not going through this path. I'm not even going to church. Oh, you said I'm sitting at home and watch football all day, or I might still be out in the streets. But this person has came along and changed my life for the better. What is the biggest blessing about having somebody who cares for you completely and just having a good wife in general?
It's the accountability from and the reason why the accountability. So, because people can be messy and nag you, or it's someone that's holding you accountable because they want the greatness, or they want you to stay on path, or they need you to be great in a moment where you're not going to be great in, you know, or even like, did you take the trash out? You know what I mean? Or they'll start just pulling out the lawnmower and start mowing. You're like, hold on, what
Right.
the hell is going on here? You know, so it's like,
No, it ain't finna mow nothing.
yeah, no, she ain't finna or tear something up, but if you ain't gonna do it, and I done already said, well, I'll do it. And it's like just knowing that, you know, ain't nobody not irreplaceable. I think it's healthy to, you know, you don't want to live in a fearful thing,
Right.
but you need to have the fear of loss in your relationship.
Both sides.
Both ways, in order to sometime push yourself to do things that you normally wouldn't do or ain't comfortable doing and stuff like that.
Do y'all do business together? How does that work?
That's the only way we do business is together.
Yeah,
You know,
so we do. And,
So she's the broker of our real estate company.
and he's the boss because I said he could be.
Right.
Because I'm really the boss.
And, you know, she's a real estate broker. I'm a realtor, just a realtor. I flip houses and stuff like that. You know, when we owned the shoe store, she was the shoe manager and buyer, and I was the stock guy and the janitorial and marketing and stuff like. I'm picking up all the other pieces.
But it's
You
really
know.
hard.
It's terribly hard.
With your partner.
Yeah, it's definitely hard because you got your, let's say, and this is my wife thing. She's grew out of it, thank God. But she was one of the people that if she come up with an idea, she really don't like
Input.
And then she don't like you to be too, because I'm the kind of guy that I get excited based upon what you want. Okay, that's what we're doing. All right, okay, cool. All right, let's do this.
Right.
Then I start, well, we could also do this. And we could also do that. And she like, oh, okay. But now, you know, you can tell how a person say no.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I was like, all right. So, you know, you got to kind of know, pick and choose when, you know, to be whatever, you know, and the roles have to be defined. Like, you know, in the household, the roles are obvious. I'm the man, she the woman. But when we coming out into this world and we fighting it, she can be the boss. I can be the lower, or I can be the boss in this industry, and she could be. It just depends, you know what I mean?
Because we're opening another business now, so I'm the boss in real estate. Our business is local to right in Fort Worth, and I mean he does more of like he said the flip and construction side, but it all ties together. So I'm the boss in that, but we're in the process of opening up another business, and he's going to more so dominate that. So I'll know that my role, I can give input, but he's calling last shots when it comes to that.
So talk to me about because like I said, I know you could have young girls watching or whatever, but you're having to transition from being a boss out in the world and then coming home and being a wife. What is the biggest transition you have to make? Because some people feel like, hey, I'm independent. I know how to do this. I know how to be a boss. And they come home and bring that to their husband. What's stopping you from bringing that boss mentality back home?
So, it's funny you asked that. Me and one of my girlfriends just had this conversation, and she's a boss as well. It's really easy for me. So I have a lot of alpha ways. I take the initiative. I'm headstrong. I'm an alpha woman, but I know the head still, and I'm a submissive woman naturally, because if you're being led right, you will naturally follow, because it's in our nature as women. So when I come home, I am happy, very happy to lay it down and follow his lead, whatever it is. Like, for the most part, I don't give too much pushback, because I done been out in the real world making decisions all day, managing people all day, making phone calls, emails, having hard conversations, complaining, whatever it is. So when I get home, I enjoy the fact that Daddy got it. And I call him Daddy because we got kids, not in a freaky way or anything. But Dad got it. When I get home, what the kids want to eat, I don't like thinking all the time. I enjoy the fact that he thinks and he has that.
I love that answer. And for you, how's the transition from you man the house at home, but hey, out in the world, she might be more aggressive, as she said. She's an alpha female.
Well, I do pick and choose.
Okay.
When to work, and you know what I'm saying? Baby business is baby business. I'm just gonna step in and be an assistant when needed. You know what I'm saying? But I got my own lane. I be doing things in too, so it's easier for me because knowing the woman. You know what I mean? We done been together so long anyway that she needed to train me on. I'm already trained on. Anything I need to train her on, she already trained on. Early on in our relationship, see, the kids is the only thing that we gonna really always kind of bump heads about. Right? Okay. You know what I mean? And that's a cool thing. I mean, I'd rather bump heads with that than a lot of other things. Right. And it's just because she was raised a certain way. Like I tell her, you were raised a certain way, and things are instilled with you. Like, she hate when my kids say the word lie. That's like cussing time.
Yeah, we used to grow up. Hey, I understand.
You know what I mean?
I understand.
You can't say but. You can't say.
You can't say but, lie. You better say telling stories and backside.
Yeah, you know what I mean? To me, I'm different, so I'm like, oh, okay. Why you all right, so it's just, that's all that it is,
Okay.
Yeah.
What would you say, so this goes to both of y'all, and this could go for the marriage or just individually. What would you say is your biggest testimony?
My biggest testimony, well, when you say
we got
that,
so many. But
when you say that, are you like when I had to really like exercise my faith, maybe?
Yes.
Yeah. Or what?
Or something that could have, like, you just said it perfect, because at the end of the day, you still have to exercise your faith. So you have to exercise your faith the most.
My biggest testimony, my husband know what I'm gonna say. He's my gift from God, and he had, you mind if I share?
Yeah, go ahead.
So he has a stomach condition that is genetic. It's called diverticular. A lot of people have it. It's nothing you can do to bring it on, nothing you can do to stop it. But he dealt with that, and it's just throughout your colon, there's pockets. It's kind of similar to a lot of people haven't heard of it, but it's similar to Crohn's disease. So he knew he had it, but like maybe 8 years into our marriage, it started really getting bad. So because I don't smoke and because I don't drink, I really enjoy food. Like when we finish, we're going to a steakhouse. And it started affecting just like his digestive tract. Mm-hmm. And it got to a point to where antibiotics and stuff just wasn't healing it. It just wasn't doing it. And he was putting off having the surgery. And it affected us so much. But in a nutshell, he decided to have the surgery. And his biggest concern was, they said, well, with anything, you take risks. they said, well, I said, babe, we were driving to the surgery that morning. It was like 6 o'clock in the morning. I said, what do you want to talk about? Like, what is your biggest fear? He said, I don't want to come out of this thing with a colostomy bag. And they said that could be a change. Like, that could happen to him, but it would be temporary. Like, 3 months. 6 months, depending on how long it took.
No months for me. Hold on.
Let me tell my testimony.
I'm just saying, man. Hold on.
So we get there
too young for that.
in the because this right here was about 3 or 4 years ago. So he's 46 now, so that might have been like 42 or something. Okay. So we get there and the lady's like, the doctor, which I really liked her a lot. She said, hey, it was a surgery that was supposed to be 3 hours, and I was there by myself. I didn't have any friends at the time, and God, I don't know what happened because I've always had a lot of girlfriends, but God removed them out of my life for a reason. And that's my biggest testimony because I sat in that waiting room supposedly for 3 hours. I look up, it was 8. And they were texting me from the room just saying everything is going good. But I'm like, it can't be going good because it was supposed to be 3 hours and now it's 5 and now it's 6 and now it's 7 and now it's 8. I get a call from the doctor. She's like, hey, everything's good. I was able to resection your husband's colon. Long story short, she said, I suggested he get a colostomy bag. And she was like, I was like, no, why? And I said, because he don't want that, you know. So she's like, well, I did the test, the blood test, air test, blah, blah, blah. She was like, he's good, but just to be on the safe side. So I was like, no. I was like, give me a minute, doc. So she had undressed herself out of surgery, which one of my girlfriends is a nurse practitioner. She was like, that was big, Patty, for her to do that.
Wow.
You know, she stopped surgery and did that and called you because she could have just made that decision. As a doctor, you know, you signing off on consent. Mm-hmm. I said, give me a minute. I prayed so hard like I had never prayed before in my life. I only prayed for like 2 or 3 minutes. I was in there by myself. I prayed and I was like, you know what? We're a family of faith. We're going to walk by faith. And she said the only thing is it's a 50% chance. If it don't work out, he can go sepsis and die. And that was hard for me because my husband is my everything. Like, he's my gift from God. He came out, it was no bag. I told him, I said, the next 30 days is going to be tough. She told me the signs. I said, if any of this happens, we got to get you in the ER because your life is really on the line. We stayed in the house for 30 days, watching closely, praying, just trusting God. And that was just so important to me because my 2 boys come from him. So I just can't imagine life without him.
Man, that was amazing. And DP, before you go into yours directly, man, I would have known I don't know if you ever heard of Brock Lesnar. Mm-hmm. He ended up getting that because he was doing mixed martial arts. That's the only reason I knew what it was that you were talking about. And man, that by itself, like, they made him, he had to get a surgery immediately. Like, even for you to be able to say, hold on, let me see, because he said that was some of the worst pain he's ever been in his entire life. So, and they pulled him from a sport. So, and they said, like you just said a while ago, they said it was so dangerous, like that particular thing has the potential to kill you. Mm-hmm. And they pulled out so much of his intestine, whatever it was, just to try to get him help. Now, he's back healthy now, but for you, in your perspective, because it might be something different, it might be the exact same thing, but from your point of view, what would you say is your biggest testimony?
My biggest testimony probably would be, I don't even rank them like that because I'm so vague, you know, but I could just say probably us starting over. Yeah, money-wise.
Okay.
At a point. It was like a big, major thing to be like, we gotta get it back. You know what I'm saying?
We gave up so much during that time to start over.
Yeah, see, one thing that we kind of know is we not married to the stuff. We married to each other.
Nothing material.
So we gave up everything. Violence. We gave up this. We'll give up that. We'll give up to sacrifice so we could make a bigger impact. And it wasn't something that we had to do. It was just decisions that we made. And we said, well, if we do this, let's do this. And if they do that and do that, we get this, we'll do this. And we kind of just took things. And this is where real estate started back for us. Remember? Okay. Mm-hmm. So it was like we had to like reset and really show a lot of faith, you know, and then just not even, you know, some people try to hold God accountable. We not holding you accountable. Do whatever you want to do, where you're going to do it. Just know we appreciate it all.
And we trust.
And we trust whatever you got going on for us. And it was like, because we was looking back the other day, they called us, a guy was like, yeah, Mr. Pearson, we just want to let you know, I ain't doing no, a lot of people say I cap, but I just, you live a certain way, you just speaking your blessings,
That's
you know what I
true.
mean? I can't, if you take it as cap, you need to straighten your life out, because I look at it as testimony reporting. You know what I'm saying?
Good and bad.
Good and bad, you know what I mean?
That's
So the man
facts.
called us and he was like, yeah, Mr. Pearson, we just want to make sure everything's all right. We got your brand new G-Wagon. It'll be in here. It's coming off the boat. Blah, 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 this and that. We was like, all right, bet. At least man, they taking too long. You know what I'm saying? Then I kind of sit back like, man, you remember we used to have that van? And it was a time where we gave up cars, everything. We had Audi. I had an Audi A8. What you had?
At the time, I had a Mercedes-Benz CLS, the Dolphin.
Dolphin. We had that Dolphin, but we gave it all up.
Yeah.
You know why? Because you when you ain't owning shit, it don't matter.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, I like, you know what? Baby was like, you know what? What if something happened to you? I don't want to be sitting here trying to figure it out.
Right.
Now, what happens? Like, my credit ain't good. We always do everything through you. So I need to be able to do something. And baby she went and bought a house with us, for us. You know what I mean? And, I'm on it too. But, at that time, it was like, you know what?
It was an accomplishment for me.
It was an accomplishment for her because you was under 30, wasn't you?
I was under 30, and like I said, when I met him, I was still fit. I was getting apartments and renting TVs. He had already been married and owned his own house. So I always depended on his credit, his money, his everything. So yeah, that was a huge accomplishment for me.
And see, a lot of times, I don't want to just, be speaking something negative, but I got to sprinkle it in there.
No,
a lot of times, guys won't empower their woman because they want them to stay beneath them. Or they scared, because you'd be surprised how many men be scared of their woman making more money than them.
Yeah.
It's crazy. You know what I mean? They don't want to empower the women. So if they used to be in the house, I pay all the bills. I'm like, listen, you go figure it out. She tried to do everything. She tried to be a cop. We put a physical therapy school. She went through physical training, did all that. Passed the test, and then like, no, I don't think I want to do that. All right, cool, fine. What's your next thing?
I was trying to be an event planner.
Try to be an event planner, the wedding
But
planner.
I had already got my real estate license, but I wasn't doing that.
She wasn't doing nothing with it, so she would just on to the next thing. I think I want to open a boutique. Okay, we'll do that for a while. I was able to make sure that while she's in the process of becoming her, because with us having that age gap, it was also my mentality. I was more mature than a lot of guys my age,
right?
Just because I was locked up, and then the people I was around locked up is always going to be older. I was 17 when I got there, so it's always going to be older. Just learning from men, like what this, what that, and it's like, what, I need to be this type of guy. So with my wife, I wanted her to be able to find her way. I didn't want to stifle her. I didn't want to be one of them, what you doing? Call her, checking out. You do you. I'm going to do us. We figure it out. And that was, as far as testimony, is watching it. We used to have a Mercedes R350, a 2008. Mm-hmm. We had a 2008. We just sold that car last year because I don't like to keep it around. I was like, that's the car right there that we started over with. And we went to that dealer and she was trying to get a Range Rover then. I was like, look, baby. I was like,
that's not the season.
That's not the season we in, baby. It's looking real $200-ish right now.
Right.
And I told the man, he was like, look, I got something, man. Let me show y'all this. And I said, oh, this it. This it right here. It's Benz, black. It was big for the inside for my boys, you know what I mean? We had the real estate thing going. I was like, this it right here. And she was like, all right, well, she gonna try to get him an impossible ass task. All right, if you get the car note, $200, we'll take it. He was like, all right. I said, we're gonna go to Chick-fil-A. We went to Chick-fil-A, came back. He said, all right, got you done. She was like, dang.
I was mad. I said, how you get this?
I said, to God be the glory. I ain't never had no $200 a month car note. You know what I'm saying? But it was just for that. And then from that point on, we wouldn't even got an apartment. We never lived in an apartment. It was, for me as a man, I just would like to, because you said biggest testimony, and she can attest. I remember, because I got felonies. And when we moved out of our place, I wasn't really thinking about that. I'm thinking, I'm that nigga. You big, I got credit. I ain't worried about it. We can go live wherever we want to. And we went into an apartment, And I'm like, yeah, just tell them, give us the keys, such and such, such. She's like, they declined you. I said, what? She's like, yeah. I was like, God, it's a mix-up. We went to, they declined you. I remember I was in there taking a bath, so I was sitting on the top. I started crying. Like, as a man, like, what happened to me to where I can't get, and then, you know, I'm not even thinking about the felonies. It just was
because you always owned your house,
right? So. It was one of them things to where I'm sitting on it. And she came in there. She said, "Oh, it's all right, babe." She consoled me in that moment, and I'm just like, man. She like, I know, and it's like, nigga, how am I sitting up here like can't get a place? You know what I mean? We had to, you know, finagle, do that nigga shit that I don't like do. I like being by the book.
Right.
I like auto pay.
Right.
Yeah, I don't want to have to put something on it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I want all my, you know, so it was just a hard pill. And then we sitting up in our $1 million house.
1.4.
And we just be sitting there. We just be, man, we're so great. We hate leaving the house. You know what I'm saying?
We started to tell you to come now.
Yeah, I was like, man, we gotta leave, man. You know, so it's just, that's just what it was. You know what I mean? You gotta like, be for people, and we always kind of try to tell them these things about our journey so they can kind of know it's not going to always make sense, but it makes sense. Yeah. This life is not supposed to be so up. For us to go up, there, up, there, up, there, up, and you know, we always smiling. We always giving. You know, we asked and prayed to God for us to be the givers in our family because we knew how it was not to have nobody to turn to in your own family. You know, I mean, so that's just, you know, I ain't gonna, you know, I'm a talker, bro.
I'll talk you to death. Listen, I love that you're doing that, and you actually just spoke to me right there, even unknowingly, because I dealt with the same situation when my wife had that felony charge, and everything that I got put on was getting declined. So I had to go with her name, and it's the same, everything that you just got through saying, it humbles you in a way. It's like, man, I put her in a situation even before I even knew her.
Right.
You know, and
she had fun making them felonies.
Exactly. But why do you think it is for men in general to not want, like you just said earlier, they don't want their wife to out earn them. They don't want to be put in a situation. Why do you think that's so hard for us?
It's a lack of confidence and a lack of security.
Yeah, for sure.
As a man, we already coveting our neighbor. We're not supposed to. We break a lot of commandments, but I'm truthful. I know the ones that I'm having a hard time with, and I ain't never had a hard time with coveting our neighbor. But I know that that's what a lot of men have a hard time with. You looking at what they got and what this person is doing and what that person is doing, and you want to make sure that you either equal to or better than, you know. And it's just, you know, if your wife, if you got that on her, then it's really nothing she can tell you to do. You know, if you the main breadwinner and you can just hold your money,
try to control her.
It's a form of control, and it's all stems from childhood. Everything that we do as adults is because the childhood traumas that we went through.
The good and the bad.
The good and the bad. And we speak about that all the time, how we was raised and how it affects our kids and how, you know, like we tell each other all the time, we give our kids everything. They still what?
They still find something to complain about.
And they gonna find something even when they get older. You know, because we ain't never let our kids spend the night nowhere. So when we get older, they're always going to be, y'all sheltered us. No. Y'all this or whatever you say. You know, because I had something that I ain't like about my parents. Mm-hmm. And they had something, whatever.
I had some. I'm sure you had some.
Right, but it ain't going to be what I like. What I didn't like about mine, you ain't going to go through that. So you're going to have a new experience.
Yeah.
You know.
So let me ask you, where do y'all see yourselves from a business standpoint, from a marriage standpoint, in the next 3 to 5 years?
Oh, we better be living it up. See, the thing is, when we had them babies, we was telling you, we got 3. We ain't never had no babysitters. Grannies over here, they didn't help us. So true definition of sacrificing, which, hey, they're our kids. We're not asking for help. But we never had, we'll drop kids off at grandparents' house, or it's your anniversary at least.
So everybody that got that, don't be ungrateful.
Yeah, be thankful.
Be thankful because that's
but
a
because
help.
of that, we got a 20-year-old, a now 15-year-old, and a 9-year-old.
A college what? Sophomore?
A college sophomore.
A high school sophomore.
And then we
and a fourth grader.
homeschool our fourth grader.
Wow.
And he thinks he's about 13 in the head and in the body. So in about 3 to 5 years, we definitely gonna start traveling the world. Like personally, we just be living life. We turn up. We about to go eat a steak tonight. We might go swing out. We dance together. You know, we do things locally right now. And then business wise, I actually said we're opening up one business, but we ain't gonna disclose too much. But we are in the process now of opening up 2 more businesses. That's because beautiful. We are very self-driven and spouses. So, you know, our goal is to really start working smarter, not harder, because in 3 to 5 years, baby will be 50, I ought to be about 42. So with that being said, we're going to be sitting back and making money while we sleep, right?
The residual income. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got one more question. I want y'all to answer this individually.
Okay.
You could go back to your 15-year-old self. You could only give yourself one bit of advice. What advice are you giving yourself knowing everything that you know now?
For me, I definitely would have just went to college because I wanted to be an attorney, and I see the mom I am, the wife I am. I could have done so many more things. With being an attorney, I wouldn't have been in the courtroom necessarily, but because I'm in real estate, I would have been owning a title company, writing different things for that. That's the only regret I have, like business-wise. And then like personally, you know what? Not to just toot my own horn. It ain't too much personal stuff I would have not did because I got all my kids by one man. I got married early on. It ain't too much. It ain't really no advice. My mama real cold with it, so I learned early on. I'm pretty good at that. What would you say?
I mean, that's what I'm sitting up here thinking too. You know, I'd probably hit him with that reality that the Cowboys ain't gonna win another chip. You know what I mean? When they last won, I was right around that age. You know what I mean? I was like, "Oh, we gonna get plenty more." You know what I'm saying? Nah, this is it, bro. But but I probably would. I don't really know, man.
Well, I can tell you at 15, you would have told yourself not to be committing them felonies at 17.
I don't know, because then I probably wouldn't have,
been who you are
wouldn't have been who I am. Like, I learned so much going through that because I got popped early. So at 17, I was already out there thinking I was the man. So the fact that I didn't have no kids.
Straight down.
I didn't have it was like college to me, seriously. You know what I mean? I had the charisma, so I had hands. So that goes without, it was none of that was a problem. It was just a maturity thing. And I needed that from somewhere because they couldn't tell me nothing. So I needed to be aware in a situation to where I had to be on my P's and Q's. So I kind of embraced
that's why you always want to sit at the restaurant with your face facing the door.
Yeah. I got my
head on the flip.
Yeah, they ain't finna catch me slipping. But I just really can't really think.
But what about business wise?
I definitely would have went after businesses earlier. I ain't never liked working for nobody. And when I was in corporate America, I sat back and I made them folks so many millions and millions of dollars. When you breaking records that ain't supposed to been broke, like financially wise, and they can't figure it out, I start like, well, shit. Wow. They kind of let me do whatever I want to do. Like, it was nothing that I could do wrong type of stuff, Right. And when I kind of forced their hand, I quit. And went to another, and everything went down. I came back and went back up. I was like, oh, yeah, man, I should have been doing this for myself. Mm-hmm. And that was the key. I was like, I'm done with this. Baby came to me in 2012. She said, why don't you just stop work? Because the job is stressful. Right. The more they pay you, the more they expect from you. Mm-hmm. And I was making $100,000 back then a year. You know what I mean?
And she was making 80 in like 07. And 80 now is good.
Right.
80 and 07 was like excellent.
Right, so it's like when you have that, you kind of get what they call handicapped.
Yeah,
complacent. I got a guy told me today he was at a job 19 years and they just let him go. And kept a guy that was there 6 years. You know what I mean? It's like where's the loyalty at? And I say they do that to you, so get out here and get your own. You know what I mean? Everybody can't be entrepreneurs. I don't want to make it seem like it's that easy. Because it's not. God really have to bless you for that to be your path.
So you would basically tell yourself, just Get out there and go
get something early. And my mom had already
Into
put
business quick.
it in my face because she always have had real estate, apartment buildings and businesses and daycare. And I was more so like, man, I don't know what I'm gonna be. But out of all of my siblings, I'm the only one that could be an entrepreneur.
Wow.
Yeah.
The rest of them, they learned. They went to college. They got careers. One worked for the government, teacher. That's it. But for me, it was more so I had to be. It's in you, not on you.
It ain't on you. It's in you.
It's in you.
Man, y'all don't understand how much I really appreciate y'all coming through. If there's any lasting messages, even from a business standpoint, shout it out. Let people know where they can find y'all and anything that y'all got going on.
Well, DP, you were great. You were a great podcast host. So, I mean, you flow good. I really enjoyed this. So, thank you for it. It's what we like to do anyway.
It's our ministry. It's our ministry. We are.
Hold on, babe, before you take over Charlie Wilson. Charlie Wilson White tell him before he get on the stage, baby, you talk too much. Just give the people what they want. Just back up on. But for me, our ministry really is like couples. We enjoy love because our saying is love is a beautiful thing when it's with the right person. So not about business, not about anything, but love for me, if you date and have those hard conversations up front, because we talk to a lot of couples. We hang with couples because we've been together 17 years. So we see a lot of different things. And the biggest thing we see is that a lot of it could have been avoided, whether y'all cut it off earlier and went y'all separate ways, or made it very known and established initially, and then everybody was on the same page. So don't be a representative. Don't date a representative. Just be you, true to you. What's yours, babe?
I have the same advice.
Okay,
all my advice is about relationship. Because everything else you supposed to go through life, you supposed to struggle financially. You supposed, especially when everybody want to be independent and doing it themselves. I don't know how. When house notes is about $3,000 average, and people is only making $4 or $5 a month, if you can do it by yourself, it's crazy. It's crazy. You should work better and stronger in your relationships, because if you can go to work as a woman or man and obey your boss, and you should be able to do the same thing for your spouse out of love. That's it.
And to piggyback, like he said, we enjoy couples so much because God honors marriage. He loves unity. He loves two. That's why on Noah's Ark, everything was in pairs. He loves the saying, whenever is it two or more in the midst? I mean, two or more come together, God is in the midst.
And he blesses marriages. That's in the Bible. I ain't going to go all into it.
But we're family.
Being married as a couple, you get more blessings than if you're single. It's just, that's what he said. I ain't see it.
So it all goes back and ties back into our belief in God, and just that we're a family of faith, and we just like to model marriage as Christ loved the church. So that's just it.
Y'all heard it from the best. So we'll begin with y'all next time. Once again, I really appreciate y'all coming through, man. We'll be seeing y'all next time.
Thank you.